How do you know what is real food and what is not? See, as children, we are culturally conditioned to eat certain foods based on what our family eats, based on what our society eats, right? When babies are born, they really only want one thing, which is their mother's milk, right, in the early stages. But once they get a little bit older, they really only want one other thing other than milk, and that's fruit. In order to get your baby to eat broccoli, or to eat spinach, or to eat a hamburger, what do you have to do? Isn't it good? Nom, 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 nom. Oh, mommy eats it. Daddy eats it. Oh, it's so good. Oh, here you go. The baby's like, no. If this was broccoli, let's say, right, or a piece of meat, right? But the kids don't want to eat it. They don't want to eat anything but fruit. Fruit is the only thing that a child will naturally want to eat. Anything else that a child starts to eat is because we have convinced it that it is good. We have talked to this child and played with this child, and we showed ourselves eating it, so the children trust us, right? Obviously they trust our parents. So, well, mommy eating or daddy eating it, even though it doesn't taste good to me, I guess I'll try it if they really want me to, but they really don't want to. Fruit is really the only thing that a child wants to eat, because it's natural in the child's body to know what is food and what is not. That sense, that sixth sense is we are born with that, and we are conditioned out of it. We're conditioned out of it. Your child doesn't want to eat onions. Your child doesn't want to eat peppers. Your child doesn't want to eat broccoli and spinach and lettuce and none of that stuff. It doesn't want vegetables. It certainly doesn't want meat. The only thing it really wants is fruit. And that's why all baby food for early stages is just made of fruit, pretty much. That's it, fruit and milk. We imitate the milk to act like things are. We use soy and other crap to replace the mother's milk, but it really just needs to be the mother's milk when they're young. That's what they really need to be on. But fruit is human food, and babies know it's human food. We have been conditioned to eat other things. We have been sold propaganda to eat other things. The meat and the dairy farmers have used massive advertising budgets and techniques to convince us to eat their meat. Oh, you gotta have protein to grow strong muscles. You can't grow muscles unless you have your meat. Bullshit. You can grow muscle without meat. I got muscles. I only eat fruit. This is all you need. Fruit has protein in it too. Did you know that? Did you know that mangoes have protein in it? Did you know bananas have protein in it? Did you know apples and strawberries? All this stuff has protein in it, man. All fruit has protein in it. You can build muscle off this, and your body makes its own protein too. You don't have to have meat you don't have to have the protein in meat to build muscle, that's for sure. So fruit is human food, and it's better than vegetables. I was raw vegan all last year, so I understand that raw vegan to me is like it's a step before coming fruitarian. Matter of fact, let me tell you what the real food pyramid is, okay? The real food pyramid, the stages, the evolution of food consciousness in a human in our current society are meat eater, which is kind of at the bottom. You pretty much eat anything, right? You're a meat eater. You'll eat fruits, you'll eat vegetables, you'll eat meats, you'll eat grains, you'll eat crickets, you'll eat pretty much anything you want, right? And then once you go up a little bit, you become usually a vegetarian, right? You'll cut out the meat. It's kind of the first thing that people that start becoming conscious of their diet cut out is meat, right? They realize meat is the thing that's causing the cancer in our society, right? So you cut out the meat, right? Okay, it doesn't digest well either. And then the next step is going to be a vegan, right? And you start replacing your meats with fake meats and stuff. You start buying soy products and pea protein products and nut cheeses and almond milk cheeses and all that kind of stuff, right? And the next step in the food pyramid is going to be raw veganism, which is a huge jump from veganism to raw veganism. Huge jump. It's a very difficult thing to do, but you're putting in nothing but raw foods the way nature intended them to go in your body. That's what you're putting when you go to raw vegan. And the next step above that is fruitarian, right? And the fruitarian, you've really narrowed it all down to what really is truly human food. And then really the next step in the evolution of your food consciousness is going to be to go to liquidarian, right? It's going to be go to like just fruit juices. And the next step above that is going to be solar breatharian, where you're just recharging your human batteries from your breath, from breathing techniques, from looking at the sun, from swimming in the ocean, from having conversations, from having sex, from all kinds of things. There's all kinds of different ways that you can recharge your own batteries, right? It's not just food that recharges your batteries, right? There's all kinds of different ways to recharge your batteries. So that's kind of the evolution of food consciousness that generally people that all of humanity will eventually go through, right? We may not, some people may skip steps here and there, but eventually the collective consciousness of humanity will not eat food. We will realize that there are more efficient ways to charge our batteries than to eat food. We may eat food here and there just for fun, right? Just because it tastes good and for enjoyment as a social thing or whatever. But we're not always, as a collective, and as individuals, we're not always going to consume food in order to recharge ourselves. It's not necessary. We can gain that off of sleep. We can gain that off of, we can recharge our batteries off of meditation. There's so many different ways to recharge our batteries. We can recharge our batteries from grounding, like putting our feet in the sand and the grass. That also recharges the batteries. There's lots of different ways. The human body is just a battery. It's just a biological battery. And it has multiple ways of charging itself. It charges itself kind of on its own. It picks up energy in the air as well. I mean, you can charge your battery from going to different types of event where positive energy is flowing through the collective of that certain group. That can charge your batteries as well. So there's lots of ways to charge your batteries, but fruit is human food, guys. This is real food. This is what we naturally need, what we naturally want to eat. If you go look at a piece of broccoli or spinach compared to a mango or an apple, which one are you going to pick? Are you going to pick the spinach? Or are you going to pick which one looks more appetizing to you, right? Which one looks like it should be food? If you can put aside the cultural conditioning and what you've been taught for just a moment, and think about looking at, or think about biting into a raw onion as compared to biting into a mango, or think about biting into a big handful of spinach leaves, right? As compared to dry, like not with a dressing on them, okay? I'm just talking about dry spinach leaves. Just put a big wad in your mouth and chew them up and see how that tastes. Yeah, it tastes like crap, doesn't it? Because it's not really human food, right? Fruit is human food. So, to determine what is food, you need to think about what you were attracted to, right? And not just what you're conditioned to eat, not what you were taught to eat. What are you attracted to? You're attracted to food by its beautiful colors. That's it. Food usually has a beautiful color to it, right? That is one of the ways that you know this is something you're supposed to put in your mouth. It's colorful, right? It looks like food. It smells like food, and it tastes good to my body without adding anything to it, without putting anything on top of it, without dipping in anything, without salting it. That's how you know something is meant to be eaten by us. That's how you know that God designed it for us. And another question to ask yourself when determining what is food is, does it take tools to eat it? Does it take a machine to extract the ingredients from it, like cane sugar, for example, right? Cane sugar takes a large machine with metal grinding teeth to smash it all up to get the sugar out of it. Fruit sugar is not the same as cane sugar. This is not bad for you. Cane sugar, having too much cane sugar is definitely bad for your health because it's not human food. You're not going to go pick up a piece of cane sugar and chew it up and eat it. It's not going to be good. Okay? The only way that cane sugar is good is when you extract all the water, the sweet water out of it, and then you let the water evaporate, and then what's left behind, the residue left behind is sugar. That's what we call sugar. Right? And then we market and sell that stuff. And we sprinkle it on everything to make other things that aren't supposed to be food taste like food, taste like fruit. That's really what it's used for. It's used to disguise, cane sugar is used to disguise things that are not food to make them taste like they are real food, like they are fruit. That's what cane sugar is used to do. It's a deceptive mechanism used by the people that are the groups that are trying to lower our frequency in our world to make us unhealthy. Okay? So pick out your foods with common sense. Think about, really, before you eat something, think about, does it look like food? Does it smell like food? And do I need any tools to eat it? Because if you need a tool to eat it, it's not really human food, okay? Human food, we were given all the tools that we need to eat our food, right? So even a coconut, for example, coconut is a nut, it's not a fruit, right? So it's, in my opinion, it's really not that good for you. Even though the water's okay to drink, right? But you know, it almost takes a tool to open up a coconut. You might be able to crack one on a rock, maybe, but and I'm okay with that. I think there are some fruits that you might have to hit with a stick, that you might have to crack. You might have to have a sharp rock, and you might have to smash it on a rock to open a durian or something, for example, right? You might have to smash it on a rock to kind of get it started. It might be hard to get it started with your fingertips because it's kind of spiky, right? I think that's okay, but you shouldn't have to have a knife in order to open your food to eat, to nourish your body, right? If you needed a knife to nourish your own body, in order to get life-sustaining energy, God would have given me a knife on the end of my fingers, right? Just like he gave the tiger claws in order to open up his food, right? And he gives the insects the teeth to open up their food, right? If it takes something more than my teeth and more than my hands to open it, it's not really food. It's not really meant for me to eat. God gave you all the tools that you need to open up the food that you were meant to eat. Okay? If you have to process it, it's not human food. If you have to have special tools to open it, it's not human food. If you have to smother something else on it to make it taste good, it's not human food. Fruit is the only human food. Thanks for watching. Eat your fruit.